Guys, these new fragrance pickups totally blew me away with the way they smell. And I had to have these fragrances because they smell so amazing. And these are not all new fragrances. Some of these are older, but I somehow rediscovered them, or the place and the time I was smelling them, I experienced the fragrances differently. But all of the fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about today, 12 of them, 12 total new or somewhat new discoveries for me that are some of the most amazing smells I've put my nose on. You're going to want to stick around to find out what they are. But I recently came back from Europe. I was gone, well, it's been almost a month now. And I did buy some fragrances while I was there. And I was shopping quite a bit for fragrances while I was in Paris, but I was in the south of France for an event that I was invited to that involved lavender and Provence and things like that. If you haven't caught those videos, please do. But while in Paris, as I said, I was at many different perfume shops and smelling a lot of different fragrances. And I wasn't actually going to smell this collection, but I decided to. I already have some of the previous launches from this house. This is Christian Louboutin. Their first launches like Loubi Doux and Loubi Rouge and those fragrances. But they just launched a collection of Fetiche fragrances that look like this. And again, I was walking through Galeries Lafayette in Paris, and I wasn't thinking any of these were going to really excite me. I smelled a bunch of them. I think the last fragrance, or the second to the last one I smelled, was called Fetiche L'Ombre. And I was like, what the hell is that fragrance? This stuff smells so good. I gotta have this fragrance. Really, really love the way it smells. So this is early this year, or was it launched last year? I'm not 100% sure when this launched, but it's pretty recent. It's created by Delphine Lebeau from IFF, I believe. And it's Peru Balsam, Tuberose, Amber, Green Notes, Tangerine, Bergamot, Heliotrope, Oak Moss, Patchouli, and Jasmine Sambac. Everything else was okay, not like wow. But this is a wow. And I could say I really enjoy the tuberose in this, but also I spoke about this once somewhere else in another video, not somewhere else, but in another video, I should say. And I mentioned what this reminds me of. It reminds me of total floral take on Eau Sauvage Parfum 2012 or something like that, because as soon as I smell it, I get major scent memories from it. And I'm like, that's the thing that reminds me of. But maybe it's not that, maybe it is, but it's really rich and honeyed amber. But again, it's overdosed with tuberose. And then there's balsamic notes in here as well, and green notes. So the green and the amber are working so wonderfully together, which actually makes the tuberose come off a bit green as well, because usually when you're smelling tuberose, you get some greenness from it because it's a flower, a white flower, and of course it's on green stems and things like that. But it is so gorgeously made. The scent memories, as I said, are just fantastic. I'm like, the first thing I think of is Eau Sauvage Parfum 2012. But as I was saying, it's a bit more floral take on that, not something that's like what you get with the 2012. And if you haven't gotten your nose on 2012, the 2017 version is a bit different than the 2012 version, but both of them are good. But for me, the best one is the 2012 version because it had the myrrh versus the elemi resin that's in the current one. But that's what it reminds me of first. And it's so awesome, guys. And I wasn't holding my breath on this one, but it's so amazing. Like the idea of this kind of freshness, the green notes, the tuberose, maybe the tangerine and the bergamot against the warmer notes, the resinous notes, the balsamic notes, the earthy notes, match made in heaven. It's so fantastic smelling. I'm shocked how great it is. And again, I didn't think I was going to react so amazingly to this, but this stuff is one of the best fragrances I've put my nose on. Maybe because it's with scent memories, maybe because it's something that I haven't smelled like before, but it's a nice fusion of freshness and warmth. And it's a great, great contrast. Let me know if you're familiar with this. Add a comment below. I hate the bottle, by the way. I don't like these pointy things. And the way the fragrance is, in the box, it comes in a box like this. And this thing comes off, obviously. It's too big, and it's got that signature red Louboutin, whatever that material is. That goes in here, right there. Whoops. And then this goes in there like that. And that's how the fragrance is delivered. Because I was like wondering, how in the world are they going to do this? So basically, the fragrance is not delivered with the cap on. You're going to have to put the cap on later. But this is a series called Fetiche, and this is L'Ambre, basically referring to amber, and definitely one of the best scents I've put my nose on recently. I absolutely love this. And this is an 80 ml too. It's not 100 ml. It's a strange looking size. I'm hoping it is like not like that's for sure 80 ml, but I've used quite a bit of it and I'm going to use a lot of it. That's definitely one of my all-time favorite smells of this year. I think also if I want to carry this with me, I can just take the bottle because this thing is not going to be easy to carry. But let me know if you've gotten your nose on this one. Let me know what you think about the rest of the collection. This next fragrance is an older fragrance from the house of Serge Lutens. And it's funny, it's like the last time I went to Paris, I also reacted positively to another Serge Lutens fragrance that I bought and brought back, and the previous time after that as well. Fumeri Turk I had already worn. I bought a new bottle of it. Then last time I went was Serge Noir, although it's a bit animalic and sweaty and musky, but I really love it. But this time, I think it was warm and there was humidity in the air. Sometimes fragrances react differently when you're like smelling them when it's cold out versus there's that humidity. But this is L'Orpheline from the house of Serge Lutens. Have you guys gotten your nose on this? This stuff is super fantastic. So awesome. Fragrance created by Christopher Sheldrake. And if you haven't caught my video with Christopher, go catch it for the brand Spaturno. I speak to him. He's an amazing perfumer. Has done a lot of Serge Lutens fragrances. This fragrance features notes of fougere accord, incense, aldehydes, coumarin, ambergris, cashmeran, and patchouli. But I've known about this for years. I'm just reacting to it positively right now. It's fantastic. So there is that fougere accord. You do pick up herbal kind of notes. Like there's a bit of lavender and there's a bit of like a geranium that pops up. But it's surrounded by the aldehydes. It's a bit smoky. And it's also musky because it's got some types of notes like that. Because the cashmeran is musky. But under the fragrance, you've got patchouli, which to me is one of the best notes ever in the entire world of perfumery. It's pretty prominent and it adds this sexy layer. Cashmeran, musky, it's powdery. Because you've got fougere accord, and if you have coumarin in there as well, which is basically the base notes, and it's a tonka. So it's acting like a fougere, but in a different way with aldehydes and musks and ambergris. It's powdery, but so super fantastic. In the heat, the stuff is so sexy. So sexy, and I loved it. I had to add a bottle. And I bought it there, and I should have just waited to come back and buy the bottle here, because this is at the discounters, and it's pretty darn inexpensive. It's under 100, and it's totally worth it. If you guys like my taste, you're probably going to like it. Again, it's a fougere-like fragrance because it has a fougere accord. Plus, it has the coumarin, which is usually found in a fougere fragrance in the base. And then you've got all these other notes to kind of like complement it and create a super sexy concoction. Love it. Have you tried it? Let me know. Add a comment below. Now, recently I was over at ZGO Perfumery, and this was finally put out. I was looking forward to getting my nose on it. I hadn't smelled it yet. I smelled it and instantly got a bottle because I loved it. It's Crushed Balls from Dries and Durga. So when this first was announced, I thought, oh, are they copying a Soft Lawn from Imaginary Authors? Because it's a tennis inspired fragrance. Well, I don't know if it's inspired by it. It kind of seems like it to me, especially when the notes break down. They say hard court, and the notes break down for the Soft Lawn has similar kind of notes. But they're smelling so different, so different. This stuff is so good, guys. If you haven't tried this one, I highly recommend it, especially if you like green fragrances that are fresh leaning. This is created by the in-house perfumer and owner of the brand, David Seth Moltz. It's rosemary, fresh cut green grass, yellow fuzz, hedge flowers, white cotton, sporty accord, hard court. It's really good. I mean, it's a very fresh fragrance. So first of all, I think this is a fragrance you can wear when it's warm outside. It's that kind of fragrance. And it's, like I said, very fresh, very green, fun and playful, and it's a carefree kind of fragrance. It's not serious, so it's not going to be like some of the other fragrances I'm going to talk to you about. It's like a grab and go kind of fragrance. if you're feeling like you want something fresh and green and kind of aromatic and spicy and invigorating kind of, but also adding these kind of strange notes like a sporty accord or hardcore and things like that. It does have a little floral touch as well, but it's so fun. It doesn't smell anything like a Soft Lawn by Imaginary Authors, but I think the idea is kind of similar. But they came up with the idea first, really. I had a friend who wore so much of a Soft Lawn. I like a Soft Lawn from Imaginary Authors. It's not my favorite. This one I actually enjoy more. The other one's a bit more serious. This one's a bit more fun. There's also a little bit more tartness here. That one doesn't have that tartness, and I feel like there's some citrusy touches in here that are not very prominent in the Soft Lawn. But if you like these kind of fragrances, I highly recommend you try it. I'm starting to slowly really enjoy the fragrances of Dries and Durga. I know they release a lot. And sometimes it gets overwhelming, but really love that one. Really do. And I'm happy I have it. And hopefully you guys will check it out as well. All right, I spoke about this one a little bit as well. This was a recent pickup as well. And this is one that I've been eyeing for a long time. I finally had to do it because when I first smelled it, I thought it was just a kind of a simplistic dumb reach kind of fragrance, but something about it really started becoming addictive, and I had to have it because it smells so good. Have you guys had situations like that? Sometimes they're a bit boring or not for me, but then I keep coming back to it and I smell it on other people or I smell it in passing, and then I really get addicted to the way it smells, and this is one of those fragrances. This is created by Jordi Fernandez, and I've got 2 fragrances created by him in this video, so I'll let you know about the next one as well. And this is, again, simplistic. It's in a blue bottle. Is it a blue style fragrance? Maybe so, but it's bergamot, ginger, mandarin, pear, orange blossom, Georgie wood, akigala wood, musks, and ambrofix. It's zingy, it's fruity, it's very fresh and watery, but also I feel like it's musky. The pear is so yum in this, and the pear adds this unique fruitiness that's not super fruity, if that makes sense. I always mention that pear doesn't act like super fruity for me unless you intensify the fruit smelling characteristics of the pear. For example, in the new Jeroboam fragrance Kunamo, the pear is so intensified in that fragrance, it's almost like pear in 3-dimensional form, like it's magnified or something. They've magnified the smell, so it's quite concentrated. Here, there is plenty of pear, but also there's plenty of ginger. It's quite zingy. It's quite zingy and spicy. And then the orange blossom and mandarin in here as well, giving you this kind of fresh and floral and citrusy kind of characteristics. But there's a lot of musks in here, lots of them. There's musks and ambrofix, plus that famous akigala wood and Georgie wood that are proprietary from the Givaudan house. And it makes for a great fragrance. Again, I dismissed it, but I've come full circle and I'm addicted to the way it smells. The only negative about this is the performance, because it's pretty light. And I did recently report that there is an extrait coming out, but when I read the notes breakdown, it went quite marine. At least the notes breakdown seemed to be. I don't know about it. We'll have to see. But let me know if you're a fan of Blue Talisman. Add a comment below so I can find out. Next, going to a house that I've never, ever spoken about on this channel. And I was at a Javoy recently, and I fell in love with this one, and I had to have me bottle. And this is the first bottle from this house ever spoken about on the channel. This is from the house of Puredistance. This is Gold. So Gold is, it is classic leaning for sure, but it's kind of like a fusion of amber and chypre style. And even though they don't mention aldehydes in the notes breakdown, I get a major aldehydic, quality about it. But in the end, I feel like this fragrance is something that Amouage would have done 15, 20 years ago. It gives me that kind of a vibe for some strange reason. So this is created by Antoine Lee. I don't know when it came out. And again, as I said, this is the first time I've spoken about Puredistance. I've never spoke about it before, but I discovered it at Javoy while I was in Paris. And I'm actually picked up 3 fragrances, and I'm going to feature them all 3 here because I fell in love with these. And I like Antoine Lee's creations, but again, I have not really experienced much of this brand. But if you're a fan of gold, let me know. This is green mandarin, bergamot, pink peppercorn, rosemary, clove buds, jasmine absolute, cistus absolute, geranium, cinnamon, styrax, benzoin, myrrh, patchouli, vanilla, tonka, castoreum, vetiver. There's a lot going on in this. And again, it gives you these kind of classic, ambery kind of vintage fragrances that might lean kind of amber and chypre style combined together with an overdose of aldehydes. And I didn't read aldehydes. I don't know how I'm getting that, but it gives me that kind of a vibe. But there's this one fragrance from Amouage that's created by Jean-Claude Elena. Is it Dia Woman? I think it gives me a little bit of a vibe of that. It's super complex and you can experience it. Like, this is not like a fragrance that's created now. I mean, a lot of fragrances now do smell a bit thin, not weighty. This one, there's a lot of notes there. You really experience, and I like fragrances like this, the super complex fragrances, super stacked also. Like, there's so many notes in this. It creates for a lot more complexity. Like, you're smelling details a lot more, whereas something that has like 3 notes reported on it will act really thin compared to something like this. But I really fell in love with it. And it's a great classic style fragrance that's kind of on the ambery, chypre style, and a lot of effervescence. You know, there's a lot of effervescence here. Maybe it's the citruses. Maybe Antoine Lee is using citrus aldehydes or something like that. Maybe it's the pink peppercorn, because pepper notes and even myrrh kind of creates a fizziness. So I'm getting a little bit of things like that in here, in addition to a lot of the amber and resins and slightly animalic notes as well. Have you guys tried Puredistance Gold? Let me know. Add a comment below. Next, I've already also reported on this, and I need to get another bottle because this is going down. I absolutely love this one. I discovered it at Neiman Marcus, and I had to buy a used bottle, but as I said, I'm using quite a bit of it. This is from Xerjoff. It's XV or 151722, Louis 151722. Let me know if you're a fan of this one. So what I like about this one is an ultra luxurious fougere style fragrance, and I think it's a collaboration with some kind of a sparkling wine or champagne brand. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't do my research on that, but with the visuals I saw online, that is what I uncovered. But this is sandalwood, lavender, aromatic notes, grapefruit, liquor or champagne, white musk, cashmere wood, hazelnuts, plums, saffron, coffee, rose, leather, incense, cocoa. You guys familiar with this one? I've reported on this one already. It's a fougere style to me because there's lavender and aromatic notes, but it's much more luxurious and it's also very long lasting. It's great lingering power. I'm not saying this is also not like a projection monster or anything like that, because it's not made that way, but I love the fact that it does linger on and you can still smell the fragrance on you after hours and hours of wear. And I like fragrances like this, but it's a fougere that's done so luxurious, so refined, so bubbly and fizzy. It's fantastic. This is like one of the first fragrances in a long time I've reacted so positively to with the House of Xerjoff. And I can't get enough of the way it smells. Let me know if you guys are familiar with this. I'm dying to get my nose on the Duran Duran fragrances. Have you guys gotten your nose on those? But in the meantime, this stuff is fantastic. So awesome. I do need another bottle though to do a full review, but do add a comment below and let me know if you're a fan of Louis 151722. And speaking of fougere fragrances, this one has been on my radar for so damn long. Many of you mentioned, you forgot to include this fragrance in your fougere list. You forgot to include this fragrance in your barbershop list. Well, I finally have it. I guess it was visiting France in the month of July that made me react to this fragrance so positively. I've never seen this brand sold near me, so I couldn't really wear it, and it was always on travels I would find this brand. And I'm glad I visited them during the warmer months to really fully embrace this fragrance and appreciate all of its amazing qualities. I'm talking about a brand called MDCI and its Invasion Barbare. I brought this back from Javoy, and I bought 3 fragrances while I was there and really fell in love with the way this smells. But it's created by a perfumer by the name of Stephanie Bacouche, and she created another fougere for the House of Masque Milano called Slate of Fern. They do smell a bit similar. I think what's really standing out in Invasion Barbare that reminds me of Slate of Fern. This has a very distinct thyme note that also is present in Slate of Fern. So it reminds me of one another. But I prefer this version much more because I feel like in Slate of Fern, it's a bit too much. It reminds me of a Middle Eastern savory meal, almost, that one. Here, it's edited and it's perfected, and I absolutely loved it. That's why I have a bottle. I'm talking to you guys about it. So no more not having Invasion Barbare in a barbershop list. But let me know if you're a fan of this one. The notes breakdown for this is grapefruit, bergamot, violet leaves, thyme, musk, cardamom, lavender, ginger, cedar, vanilla, and vetiver. But honestly, the thyme is so distinct in Slate of Fern, and when I was smelling this, it reminded me of something. And then after I got the fragrance, I looked up who made it, and I didn't know it was Stephanie Bacouche, but I actually did a full review of Slate of Fern, and I knew that that was made by Stephanie Bacouche. Then I thought, okay, I see what's going on. But here, it's so green and herbal, but also it's like a fusion of herbs that are fresh and also herbs that are dry. It's almost a bit smelling like when you're visiting the south of France, Provence, and you're going through the markets and they have all the herbs de Provence kind of selling. It gives me that kind of a smell, but in a very shaving foam, shaving soap kind of way rather than just the herbs in the herb market. But there's a lot of herbs here and spices, and you really pick it up in the fragrance. It's unique in the way it's made. It's also super awesome. The grapefruit fruit adds the zing. The violet leaves gives you this kind of fresh ozonic crispness. And of course, it's got musky touches. And then of course, the herbs, the key notes for the fougere style fragrances, the lavender, and of course we've got thyme in this, which again, it stands out, but it smells fantastic. Let me know if you're familiar with this Invasion Barbare from the house of MDCI. But the next fragrance I just spoke about in a video, Addicted to the Way It Smells. This is Eau du Serail from the house of Naomi Goodsir. Are you guys familiar with this one? If you caught my video on Sunday for Naomi Goodsir fragrances, I spoke about this. This stuff is created by Bertrand Duchaufour. I believe this launched in 2014, and it's turned out to be my favorite fragrance from the house of Naomi Goodsir. What I like about this is the naturalistic honey, the tobacco, the fruits, all these really yummy notes together. It's a bit smoky, not too much, but not the leafy variety. It's kind of edited down. There's not a lot of smoke. I guess it could be a distant relative of something like tobacco honey, but with a lot more fruitiness and a lot more, I think just a lot more fruitiness and less tobacco. It's sweet, it's gooey, it's sticky, ambery, but so yummy, guys. It's a great fragrance that I'm addicted to the way it smells. The more I put it on, the more I want to put it on because the smell is just really addicting. But it is super sweet, so if you don't like sweet fragrances, this might not appeal to you. Let me know if you're a fan of that. Go catch my video on Naomi Goodsir fragrances. Really awesome collection. Some daring fragrances, but I do a ranking of the entire collection at the end of the video. Now next, a fragrance I discovered earlier this year, and I didn't have it in time to do it, feature it in a fig fragrances video, but now I have it. It's a fragrance created by Vanina Muracchiole, and if you caught my video with Francois Anan of Jeroboam fragrances, she does all the Jeroboam fragrances, same perfumer here. This is Piazza del Fico, Fig Plaza, is that what it translates to? What I like about this fig fragrance, I almost feel like there's aldehydes mixed in with the figs. It gives me a bit of a laundry-like freshness with the greenness of the figs that are in here. I feel like there's also something like bamboo greenness along with the greenness of the fig leaves. And there's also slight fruitiness under there as well. But it's a super fresh experience here, that addicting. If you love this, the way the fig smells, it's mostly the leaves here, mostly the greenness. I think you're gonna love this one because there's something about it that's a super addicting. And I absolutely really love the way this thing smells and has become a favorite fig fragrance of mine. Finally, I can talk about it because it's so good. But the notes breakdown is green notes, figs, precious woods, bergamot, pink pepper, cedar wood, dry woods, floral notes, jasmine, white musk, woody amber. Let me know if you're familiar with this house, Jupillo, and the fragrance Piazza del Fico. If you're a fig fragrance lover, you gotta check that out. It's so awesome, guys. So amazing, and it's so super fresh. And again, I get something like bamboo in there. Something is reminding me either of bamboo or aldehydes. So it changes up the traditional fig fragrance style, fig fragrances, to something a little different, even though you are smelling a lot of fig leaves in this, but there's something different about it in comparison to other fig fragrances. That's why it is so addicting here. So this is Piazza del Fico. Let me know if you're familiar with that. All right, next up, we're talking about a fragrance from a house called Birkholz. This is Satin Vanilla. Are you guys familiar with this one? It's a vanilla fragrance, obviously. It's called Satin Vanilla, but it's super delicious. Now, the only thing with this one is the several times I wore it, there is something smoky or animalic that comes through right away. But once that goes past it, like once it's gone, it's this velvety, smooth, slightly green-leaning vanilla fragrance that's to die for delicious. But there is something, I think there's a note of pepper in this, and I'm almost thinking like it's chili pepper rather than like black pepper. So it gives me the contrast of something like Aldebaran from Marc-Antoine Barrois, but that disappears quite fast. It almost acts like leather or pepper or smoke. Something hot, and then it becomes this velvety, smooth, caramelly, slightly boozy, creamy, so creamy. And I think we've got milk in here, so it's lactonic, but we've got gardenia in here as well, which is creamy. It's a creamy white floral note, and it makes for the fragrance to become super cozy and creamy on skin. Again, it's velvety smooth. It's called Satin Vanilla. It's super smooth, and again, it smells really, really addicting and to die for. There's a lot of vanilla fragrances out there, obviously, so you can pick and choose whichever you want to wear. But this was a recent discovery and a delicious discovery that's always on my mind. I'm thinking about this vanilla. I want to keep wearing it and things like that. Just keep in mind, though, just like the fragrance from Dolce Sonata from the house of Sospiro, it's that fruity kind of fragrance, the ambery fruity, but there's this leather and smoke that comes through. It's a bit like that with that kind of interruption, but this starts off like that, then becomes this really awesome gourmand, very like velvety, smooth, creamy, silky, milky kind of vanilla. But whereas the Sospiro del Dolce Sonata is like as you're wearing it and living with it for a bit, and then it becomes this kind of smoky, leathery thing. This one just starts off like that, then becomes this amazing fragrance, super gourmand. So it's Satin Vanilla from the house of Birkholz. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Dries Van Noten. It's a Havana Gold. One of my all-time favorite notes, and I think it's my upbringing, is licorice, anise, star anise, these kind of notes. They don't pop up in fragrances too much. Well, it has popped up here in this fragrance. And I did a blind buy, and I can't believe how good it is. Once again, it's created by Jordi Fernandez for the house of Dries Van Noten. So he's got 2 fragrances on the list. Is he the new hot perfumer? So this is tobacco leaves, licorice, cypriol, leather, benzoin, cistlabdanum, myrrh, tonka, cinnamon, iris, coriander, mandarin, and star anise. Let me know if you're familiar with this. So good. So there is a familiarity about this, even though I really pick up the licorice and the star anise. There's something familiar about it. I almost feel like these 2 fragrances had babies, and we've got Havana Gold. Smoking hot, tobacco color. But more tobacco color than smoking hot. Both of them are tobacco-focused fragrances, and smoking hot has a little bit of a licorice-y quality, not as much as Havana Gold. So I feel like they've taken tobacco color and added some licorice-y notes, this kind of a boozy, spicy note that the licorice and anise or star anise provide, and they've intensified. And in fact, I've got a compliment on this just a little while ago. I was wearing it, and I was getting some coffee, and the lady that took my order said, "You smell good today. What are you wearing?" And I said, "It's tobacco. It's called Havana Gold." She goes, "Ooh, that smells really, really great." So the other thing, this reminds me a little bit of a Contam Biche creation for Carolina Herrera in the higher end collection called Mystery Tobacco. Do you guys remember that one? I had a bottle a long time ago. It's finished now and gone, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of that as well. And that was a tobacco fragrance too. But this is super sticky and ambery. You can really experience that. It's not dry at all. So there's a stickiness about it when you're wearing it. And it smells fantastic, and I really, really love it. I guess Jordi Fernandez is now becoming the hot, sought-after, perfumer, and once again from Givaudan as well. And I guess the kind of notes that they're using, ingredients that they use in fragrances, people are really clicking with, and that's why he's doing a lot more fragrances. Let me know if you've discovered Havana Gold. I love the bottle, by the way. The colors are perfect, totally perfect. So let me know that as well. And then the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Black Orchid Reserve. Yeah, I bought this. I think it's a really nice, luxurious take on the original. I sampled it and it smelled so intensely gorgeous. And I think it's become my favorite next to the Parfum. In fact, the Parfum in the gold bottle and this are different, even though the DNA is the same. And so if you are a fan of Black Orchid, you're going to want to get your nose on this one because it's so good. And what I love about this one is they brought out the truffles a lot. You really smell the truffles really intensely. And I love that smell to begin with. I love it in cuisine, and it's really nicely done here. And then the thing is with this one, it feels a lot more beefy in comparison to the gold Parfum bottle. So really great fragrance. I think they've taken Black Orchid to the next level and made it super sexy. But the notes breakdown in this is Black Orchid Accord, Patchouli, Ghost Orchid Accord, Roasted Tonka, Black Truffle Accord, Ylang-Ylang, and Timut Pepper. Fantastic fragrance, guys. Yeah, it's pricey, but if you can get a deal, get it. I bought this at 15% off and it came with the atomizer, although they didn't give me the original atomizer. There's a full review of it. Go catch it where I compare it to the OG Black Orchid and the Black Orchid Parfum. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. 12 awesome fragrances that I'm addicted to that I really can't get enough of because the smell is so great. I'm going to stop trying to organize with that. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Add a comment below. And thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, list below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also click the bell icon. And also please give a thumbs up for this video to help with the algorithm. See you guys later. Bye-bye. All right, just a quick bonus that I also bought at Javoy. This is the third and final fragrance I brought back from that store. This didn't blow me away, but I had that aha moment. So this is a fragrance from the house of Parfum the Empire. It's called Tabac Tabou. Have you guys gotten your nose on this one? So I had smelled this fragrance before. I always felt like it was a bit on the animalic side. It's Narcissus, plus it's got this kind of hay tobacco-like qualities. And of course, it has honey as well. On my skin, the honey doesn't come through as much. But as soon as I smelled it in that store, it finally clicked and there was that aha moment. This reminds me of a fragrance Marc-Antoine Corticchiato, who is the perfumer for Parfum the Empire, created for the Roberto Greco. The first fragrance that he created for him, and he's used 3 different perfumers, by the way, called Oyer. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's what it reminded me of. Anyway, if you're looking for a bottle of that, you can get it with Tabac Tabou, because the fragrances of Roberto Greco are all very limited to 500 bottles. And so that was that aha moment, like, oh my God, this reminds me of that fragrance, because I had just smelled it before I went to Europe and it clicked with me. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that as well. See you later. Bye-bye.